All right, guys, my name is Derek with Frontline Foam, and today we're going to be talking about the Sirius, the Sirius 747 by Hing Yip Designs. He is a new designer who's mostly done body kits up to this point. This is the first full blaster he's ever designed, and he obviously did a really good job. Really excited to talk about this. This is a flywheel blaster, so it is got flywheels that spin. It is LiPo powered. It's full auto. But it's got a lot of features that set it apart from other blasters that may be similar to it. So obviously it's got a P90 sci-fi look, which is super cool because it's super compact, and a lot of people who like to run sci-fi or like to collect things because they look dope, this is definitely a runner-up. However, it does load like a bullpup, not like a P90. So a P90 look, but the bullpup load, which I think is great because you get the cool sci-fi look of a P90, but also the practical loading of a bullpup. Instead of the impractical, I'm gonna put it in the top, you know? It's got the best of both worlds. So some of the features, we're gonna start front to back here, just to keep it simple, is you do have a rev trigger to turn on or rev the flywheels, and then a fire trigger to fire the darts. It is full auto. You can see that we've got plenty of rail up top. This top rail segment can actually be removed, and then you can access these built-in iron sights with that rail removed. So you can look down the iron sights, or then you've got room for your optics and lights or other accessories or what have you. And then moving back, you actually have some more features which are under the hood. Which is really cool about the Sirius is some flywheel blasters, if you get a jam, it can be catastrophic with a dart getting stuck on the flywheels and binding them up and burning out a motor. But the Sirius, you don't have to worry about taking it apart if that happens. You can just open the lid, clear the jam, and keep playing. Or even if you get a dart stuck in the barrel, you can then clear the barrel as well. So that's a really handy feature. So even in HVZ, if you're using worn darts, you don't really have to worry about using good darts, because then you can, if you get a bad dart that folds up or jams, just open it up, clear it, and then keep playing. So super easy. Another really amazing feature that I think all blasters will actually have moving into the future, with the Protein has and a couple other ones, is a inline B car in the barrel. So you can just pop that out and you can see the bearings. You see the bearings in there. So those provide spin for the dart, making it more accurate. Usually you see these on springers with long barrels or high power, but with this nice wide entry on the B car and then the wide opening on the back means that even though you have a nice tight entry into the B car and a wide opening, the dart is actually really benefited by that accuracy. So that makes the Sirius, and I kid you not, one of the most accurate flywheel blasters I have ever used. And we're at all day at Ragnaroktoberfest, which is HVZ. We're at it all weekend, and it was super accurate. I was very impressed with it. So yeah, so that's under the hood, features barrel flywheels. And then you have the mag release is the actual detent is this entire nub on the back. And so that makes it really easy when you're doing CQB or fast-paced playing. You need to reload. You don't have to worry about where's the mag release. You just hit the button and the mag drops out super clean. Gravity drop mag well. And it's really good for a fast-paced mag swap. Then you have some more features. It's not over yet. You have the adjustable stock. So this is a nice size CQB, but if you're taller, you can slide that out. Then you can get another 1.5 inches or so of stock, which can make a difference. Then the actual stock itself holds the battery compartment, which is fairly large. That can fit really any size LiPo you have, even these big old ones or the puffy ones, which you might not want to use because they're puffy and they might wear out, but they work for around the shop. Slide that back on. Super easy, quick battery swap, and then tighten the thumb screw back down. Should mention that it is straight Talon mag compatible. So it does work with Coda mags as well, or your curved 18 round mags, or your straight worker style magazines. So those are all the features of the platform itself. Obviously you've got a cool size. Now let's talk about performance. You have, of course, the super high accuracy with the B car. He also has a couple different B cars designed that you could use to change if you want to change your spin ratio or whatnot, depending on what power you're using, you can do that. But the original design was with worker Hurricane flywheels, and so those usually get around 110 or 120 feet per second. And with his recommended pusher motor options, you can get around 5 darts per second on a full auto. But we've been able to source custom made motors for a higher rate of fire, and you can use different wheels with the new dust cover that'll fit over those wheels for higher FPS. So normally you're looking at 100 FPS, 5 darts per second, but we've been able to get it up to about 180 feet per second with almost 200 darts per second or 1400 RPM. So you get almost double the rate or double the power. Yeah, and more than double the rate of fire. So his recommended motor has a 5 dart per second and an 11 dart per second. Now we're getting 20 darts per second. So even more performance out of this amazing blaster. So we've been working with him pretty closely. Hing Yip, or Rance Chan, I believe is his real name, or at least his real English name. And we've been going back and forth on updates and whatnot, and things to make it more reliable. So that is the Sirius. Overall, you have the pros of flywheel, full auto, compact, SMG/P90 kind of feel. The only cons I'd say about it though is because it is 3D printed, you may have some trial and error if you build yourself one of these, because you have the print tolerances will make a big difference in how it goes together for you and how much sanding or how the parts fit. And it is overall 3D printed, so your overall durability might be a concern. But if you are okay with tinkering yourself, if you want to build your own, you have that option, or do whatever color you may want. It's also easy to replace parts or swap things out if you want to down the road. The only other cons is it is flywheel blaster, so it is loud when you rev it, which is, I guess, the biggest con of flywheel blasters. But, and the other thing about flywheel blasters is they're generally less accurate than springers. Now the B car makes a big difference. It's still not going to be as accurate as a dedicated high accuracy blaster, but with the full auto rate of fire, you're kind of not using it for accuracy anyway. I think it's a great go-to HVZ blaster because it's close quarters, compact, easy to unjam, and it looks cool, which is of course a feature for a lot of people who like to run HVZ or sci-fi or LARPing or whatever. The design itself and the build is pretty easy. Again, it depends on how your prints come together. A lot of the hardware though is not normal. Most designers use M3 screws or 440, but this one uses some Chinese spec hardware like 2.6 self-tapping screws and other small bits and bobs, and the pusher motor is really hard to find, and so it can be difficult to source as far as the build goes, but we're going to supply you guys with hardware kits and all the different things you may need, as well as support and build guides for that. So that is the Sirius 747. I think it's a great design. Let us know what you think of it as well. We're planning on releasing this. Really excited to get this into your hands. A lot of people have already mentioned, like, what is that? That looks so cool. And then they see it shoot and they think it's even more cool. So it's really fun. And then you can do this. Ooh. Clear jam, ready to go. Sign up to get notified of early access, or if it's already released, then check it out.